Howdy on Willex Lives. I think it's time to play a little 7 Days to Die. Hey, buddy. Why are you so fast? Whew, that guy was fast. Beat my face in. I don't like it. Why is he so fast? Oh, I'm right at the edge of the building, too. Whew, well, that's not a good way to start my day. Alright, where am I? What was I doing? Bird be on top of a building. I'm doing the old, Blade Runner pose there. Such a good movie. I guess that wasn't exactly what I would call the Blade Runner pose. I was wondering, I saw a thing in the tooltips that your stone axe takes the place of the tools until you can get the tools. Does that mean I can get mechanical parts with the stone axe? Gonna find out. Yeah, I think I did my last mow for the season yesterday. Glad to get that done out of the way. Frees up my Friday afternoons. Or Saturday afternoons, whichever day I ended up mowing on. It's like 3 to 4 extra hours a week. Yeah, I ain't getting no mechanical parts from that. Oh, well. I don't think I got any mechanical parts from that. I guess I wasn't paying enough attention. What I need is, I don't know, maybe gas stations? I feel like they're mechanical party kind of places. Okay. Should I go back and take this road north here, maybe? See where that goes? I think that's what I'll do. So I was watching some people and, on a stream, and they were talking about shows they liked. And the one guy is watching Sopranos for the first time, which is one of my faves. And, the other guy goes, ooh, he's like, asked him how his Sopranos watching was going. He's like, yeah, I'm about 5 episodes in. It's pretty good so far. He's like, yeah, Sopranos, it's a good one. That's excellent. Ooh, you know what else you should watch? You should watch Severance. That one is amazing. And I'm like, oh, all right. I like Sopranos, so maybe the Severance one will be a good one. And so I jump over to old Apple TV there and start up Severance, and I'm like, oh, it's a sci-fi thing. All right, I kind of like that. I don't understand the point of that show. I watched the whole 1 season that's out so far. Why did that guy suggest that in comparison to Sopranos? I don't understand. Oh, my spear just broke. Lucky for me, it was a quick fix. That's not food. I don't really have any food on me. Just have to wait till I find some food. So spoilers for Severance. It's a very strange show that doesn't explain anything in any way that makes any sense, and probably thinks it's more clever than it is. I don't understand the point of it. It's basic premise. A company has figured out a way to implant a chip in people's heads that gives them two separate personas with separate memories. And for whatever reason, the show calls the original personality persona person the Audi. And then the the new persona is called the Innie. I understand where the names came from. They're just stupid. So people, and it's called Severed. And so originally, it appears on the show, people who were severed worked for the company that is doing the implantations. And so when they're at work, it's their Innie persona. So they're working inside the company. And then when they're out off work, that's their outies. And so basically people are severing having to remember work from their lives. Which means that the people, the innies, only know work. So they awaken as they get to work, and then they, go to sleep basically as they leave work. And so for them, it's always work, which would be awful. Um, and so, uh, the thing is they're like completely separate people with separate memories. So they somehow know the same skills. They just don't remember anything about their other lives. And so, um, so the main character is this guy whose wife is dead, and so he decided, like ladders, oof. And so she died in a car wreck, and so he decided to sever so that part of him would be able to function without remembering that he had a wife who died. And so the severing stuff is okay. I don't, I'm not confused by that or anything. But then it gets weird. So he's at work, and he works in a big empty room with four computers in it, all right next to each other in a square shaped cubicle setup. And so there's four people that work in his department. And they really do. They're like in this big room, and it's just the four computers in a square cubicle set up, and that's it. And so their job is to look at a screen of numbers and then feel which numbers are wrong. They don't know what the numbers are. They don't know what the numbers do. They never explain that on the show. They sometimes wonder what the numbers do, and so they'll have different theories. Look at him, he's asleep. He's curled up like a sleeping dog. Now he's dead. He's double dead. It's a quote from Nightmare Before Christmas. So, like, they don't know what they're doing. And there's a quota and everything. They have to get so many files completed. And I just... And so one of the guys has left right at the beginning of the show. And so they replace him with this woman. And her innie doesn't want to be there, to the point that she tries to kill herself to get away. Because she keeps trying to leave and stuff, and resign, and the innies don't have any rights, and so her outie won't let her leave. And basically the show just revolves around them trying to get her to stay and do her job. And they meet up with another department that's full of people, and they're all in charge of artwork for the facility. And like there's this whole weird thing where they like are worshiping the founders of the company. And they've got like the whole, like a house. There's a house inside the building that's like supposed to be set up like the original founder of the company it's his home, his childhood home. And then outside the workplace, the guy shows up who's missing from the 4-person department, and he has gotten someone to reintegrate his memories. And so he's trying to talk to the main character. I don't remember what his name is. And I think the dude who has memories reintegrated is Petey, which I just thought was a weird... I mean, not that Petey's a weird name, but it's weird to call... It's weird to me for them to call this adult man they know from a work environment Petey. Because to me it sounds like a kid's name. But yeah, so he talked to him a little bit, but the dude didn't follow the rules on reintegration that were given to him, and so he's dying from reintegration sickness. The thing is that no one believes that reintegration is possible, so it's unusual for him to be being reintegrated anyways. And so there's a little bit of that where he's like, oh, the company, but nobody knows what the company does, and he can't figure it out either. And they find a room where a guy is feeding goats, like baby goats, and he's like, you can't have them yet, they're not ready. And so I think that's the only 3 departments they've shown. And then there's some security people, and they have a thing they call the break room. So if an innie screws up or, you know, tries to run away or whatever, they take him to the break room and they make him sit there and repeat this phrase over and over again about how sorry they are, until the machine says that they believe it. And I'm like, okay, like I get the weird psychological stuff that's going on. Okay, they're like breaking the inner self thing for some reason. The main character's sister's pregnant, and she goes to a birthing retreat to have her child. And when she's there, she meets another woman, and she talks to this woman, and the woman says that she's gonna name her kid William, I think. I like that I can remember these other names, but I can't remember the main character's name. And so then later she sees that woman again at the park, and the woman doesn't know who she is, and the woman says the kid's name is Bradley, not William. And then she finds out that that's this senator um, who's all for the severing process and is trying to get some laws passed to allow it because there's like big protests against severing. Oh, I'm so far from home. Wow. Didn't I shove a bunch of stuff into a minivan? Oh yeah, back here. I'm gonna see if I can put more stuff in here. And then so obviously the wife has been severed, uh, and so she doesn't remember any of that because she let her severed self do it instead of her going through labor and stuff, I guess. And then eventually the main character meets the scientist from the company who did the reintegration of Petey, and the security guy who's in charge at the company has tracked them down, and so they kill him. And then um after he's gone, they start locking down the facility more. And then uh they got one of the guys from the four-person department on camera stealing a picture from the other department they visited, and the pictures are all weird. They got a lot of like violent pictures, and you know those little almost stick figure drawings they have at businesses, like, you know, be careful, the floor's slippery, or here's the stairwell, you know, here's the exit kind of thing. They have a bunch of those, but they're like fighting pictures for some reason. And he took one, and then they were worried that he smuggled it out of the company, and so they activated him, his innie, while he was at home, so they could talk to him about it. And his kid, his kid come into the room, and so now the innie knows he had a kid, so now he's freaking out because he knows he has a kid, and they won't give him any information about his kid. And oh yeah, see, look at that, all my stuffs is still here. Why is that in there though? I need that. Okay, let's see how much else I can fit in here though that I don't need. Wow, not a lot. Okay, well, we'll pick a different vehicle here. One that I haven't looted yet, apparently. Eventually I'll get a vehicle, and then I can come back for all this stuff that'll already be looted, and I don't have to run all the way home, because I'm here. So yeah, it was just weird, and then they figured out, because they brought that guy back to find out what happened to the picture. He hid it behind a toilet at work, so his innie knows where it's at, but nobody else knows anything about it. But now that he's seen the kid, he's freaking out that he's seen a kid, and now that they figured out that you can be activated outside of the building as well, and so they basically come up with a plan. If someone completes 100% of their quota, or if the whole department completes 100% of their quota, then one person gets a waffle party. Okay, now they got this weird thing where they get I don't I kind of get it, like it's making fun of, business stuff that you get, right? Like, have you ever worked at a place that has like the um not the company I work for now, but the company I worked for before the one I work now, had this thing where you'd earn actually actually it happened one other time too, at the college I taught at. You'd get bonuses, right? But you'd also get like these point bonus things, and then once you got enough points, you could spend them in the company catalog for little kitsch stuff like a water bottle, right? And so they have some of that stuff going on. If they complete enough of their quota, then they get um, Chinese finger trap things, or um, oh, I don't remember what else. But sometimes they'll get like these weird parties. And so like I don't remember what she got it for, but the woman, she got a 5 minute dance party. And then so if everybody completes everything, they got an egg bar at one point, so it was just like a bunch of they got a melon bar at one point as well. Um, and so the guy who's like their handler would just come in, and then they would get this party. So it's like they're trying to turn the people into automatons, their innies, and then occasionally just reward them with the most inane stuff. I don't know. But so they get this waffle party, which is a big deal, but only one person gets it. And so the one guy goes, "Well, I'll take it because, in their group when they're trying to decide what they're doing." He goes, "I'll take it because I've already been activated outside, and so it's, your guys' turn." And so he stays for the waffle party. Everybody else goes home into their outie selves. And then the waffle party is like they take him to the childhood home replica thing, and then there's one plate of like three waffles with a pat of butter on top of it, and then some syrup he can pour over it. And then he eats his waffles, and then they take him to this other room where scantily clad people wearing weird giant like masks dance. I don't know what was going on there. And then while they were doing that, he took off and he goes to the security room, and he jams the door closed. Um, and then uh, he activates the protocol that allows them to be activated as innies outside, and then so the one guy discovers nothing. I don't know what the point of his whole outside experience was. Basically, him and one of the guys from the other department that deals with the artworks, kind of started flirt with each other, and so then he's trying to find that guy on the outside. And when he finds that guy on the outside, the guy has retired, and he finds him at home, um, with his husband, I guess, um, and then like that was his whole outside story thing. I don't. It was. I found it boring. I don't know. And then the main character uh was at a party, and his brother-in-law was putting on, and then he discovered that his brother-in-law was the author of this book that he had been reading, that they had found at the facility that someone accidentally left behind, because they're not supposed to be any outside materials, right? And so uh like there's like these weird like Bible verses things that they follow, and one of them was, something like, "You shall not read the words of lesser men," meaning the only thing they're allowed to read is the office manual. Um, which is kind of like a fake autobiography of the founder of the company kind of thing. It's really bizarre. And then so then as he's wandering around, he sees his boss there, and he doesn't understand why his boss is there, because she's been keeping an eye on him. And at this point you know why she's been keeping an eye on him. Because I'm at the edge of the map. Am I at the edge of the map, really? Huh. Into the world. Oh, man. Really, guys? It used to be super radioactive. Or is that just in the procedurally generated? I didn't realize I was that close to the edge of the map. I'm used to the procedurally generated one, where you just keep going. So then, he accidentally calls her by her actual name instead of the name that she has given him, because she's pretending to be the nanny for his sister so she can keep an eye on him. And then he recognizes his brother-in-law as the guy who's writing the book that he's been reading. Has profoundly changed his life. The brother-in-law's book is like the most dumb things you've ever heard. It's like supposed to be this self-help book, but everything is wrong. Like, I guess the only thing I can really remember off the top of my head from the book was like the word camaraderie, comes from the word camera. Because it's from people grouping up together to take photos, the guy says. And he believes that there might be a deeper meaning to the word that goes beyond camera. I'm like, yeah, no kidding. You mean like the actual meanings of the words? Because it does not come from camera, okay? Camaraderie is a way older word than camera. I just the book was just all weird stuff like that. Why let them place rules on you at work when you should be free, because you are a free spirit existing in the world, and no man can put a lock on your soul. It's kind of stuff like that. And so so when he calls her by the wrong name, she realizes what's happening, and so she rushes back to work. She's been fired, and she can't get anybody on the phone to let him know what's happening. And so she's rushing back to work to let them know that there's been a breach in the security office and that people are activated on the outside. And so they let someone know, and then he tries to break in and he can't get in through the door. And they're all freaking out back at the party because that woman had his newborn niece, and now they don't know where she's at. And so they finally find the niece. And then, I don't know, it was the weirdest thing. The dude finds her, and then this other guy barges in the room, and he's like, oh, there she is. And then he grabs the baby carrier that they've put the baby in, and he rushes out of the room. He goes, I found her. It was me. I'm the one that found the baby. Me. I'm the one that found it. I'm like, what in the world? This show is so weird. And then he sees a picture of his sister, her husband, himself, and his wife. And then it turns out his wife, which you discovered earlier in the show, is actually the therapist at work. Only they don't remember each other, because they've been severed. And so that's why that woman is keeping a close eye on him, because he's part of the big experiment, to see whether or not they can truly separate, like, I don't know, emotions and stuff, I guess. Um, so the last part before he turns back into his Audi is, which is the very end of the season, is him screaming that she's still alive, to his sister. And the other guy is pounding on the door, yelling out the guy he was flirting with, his any name, because I think they have different names. And then you get the woman. So the woman, I had figured it out. I'd figured it out way back, I think, almost as soon as she was introduced. I was like, I figured that one of the people in the group had to be a member of the family who owns the company. And so I figured it must be her, because the other ones were just too weird. And so it turns out she was. And so when she switches into her any self on the outside, she's at a party as well, but it's like a big publicity event where she's supposed to give a speech about how amazing it is to be severed. And so they've got all these photos of her severed self being happy at work, because there's their handlers always going around taking pictures of them, because it's a big stunt. And so they hmm I just had an idea about what they're doing at work. She gets up on stage to give her speech, and starts telling them how horrible it is to be an innie. Uh and then that was basically the show. And I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't get why the guy would say this is as good as Sopranos. I don't get why the guy said it was awesome. It was it was definitely not worth 9 episodes. Um the guy being reintegrated, and the security guard being killed, and meeting the doctor who can reintegrate memories, um only probably matters to what I assume will happen in the second season, because it didn't matter at all to the first season, other than getting the security guard out of the security office, because somehow they didn't manage to hire a new security guard for some reason. Um, and Yeah, so I don't get it. I don't get the show. I don't know if I'll watch season 2, honestly. I don't care. I like, if something actually, like, if there was actually a thing happening, but there's not a thing happening. They're the people don't seem to be being abused at any point on the show, other than they always have to be at work. There's like a weird protest scene where he gets into a yelling match with the kid who's like, it's, you know, they're being kept as slaves. And I'm like, sort of, I guess. But, I also watch a lot of online debate stuff, and people call just having a job being slaves. So I kind of get the sentiment, but also, what I kind of get it, but it's you, but it's not you, but they're doing the job, and you have a job, so I don't know. Like, maybe they need some extra time to have free time. I could understand, but I don't know. I think yeah, I would be willing to split my day in half. Um, and they could be awake for 8 hours and then sleep for 4, and then I would be asleep for 4 and then awake for for 8. It'd be fine, just as long as I didn't have to go to work. Because let's be honest, that's the worst part of my day. And but I don't know. I didn't think it was a very good show. Uh, I think okay. The my theory with the numbers is I realize because they look at these numbers and then they're looking for numbers that feel a certain way, numbers that make them feel good or make them afraid, and I just realized that maybe what they're doing is they're looking at their own code for the chip that's in their head, and the numbers somehow represent loose emotions or memories that are trying to break through. And so when they find them, they lock them out and the code they remove them from the code. And so it's actually they're hacking their own brains. So all right, well with that, be better than the small things, lean to the light. I will talk to you later.